What's going on, everybody? Jason Wright here. Welcome to the channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. I think you'll like it. So a big focus of the videos we've been making lately have been on smoke, flow, and grow. What does that mean? Well, generally when we talk smoke, we talk cigars. Today when we talk smoke, as you probably know from the title of this video, we're talking St. Louis ribs in the smoker. So a lot of you out there in YouTube land didn't know that I smoke meats, but I do. So we're gonna use my own rub, and we'll take you in the kitchen here and take you out by the smoker. So be some different parts of this video, which will be pretty cool. But we're gonna use a simple rub. We're gonna use a simple smoker, and we're gonna make fantastic ribs. So if you want to learn how to make ribs on your own, this is about as easy as it gets. So let's check it out. You're gonna love this. All right, we are in the house. I'm going to show you kind of what we're working with here, and because I don't know how to lock in the camera, I'll have to freehand a bunch of this, but it'll be all good. So we're going to start with Costco St. Louis style ribs. They sell them in 3-packs, so you see, not too bad of a deal for what you get, but 3 racks of St. Louis, that's a lot of meat. So I got a family of 4. This will last us 4 or 5 days probably, right? I usually will have dinner, then I'll cut them into 3 or 4 section leftover pieces and put those in Ziploc bags for meals in the fridge. But basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut this open. Now the nice thing about Costco ribs, whether it's St. Louis or baby back, is they cut the membrane out of the back for you already. So you don't have to do any of that prep like you would buying it from a butcher or somewhere else. So I'm gonna cut the plastic off, and I'm not going to film this because there's nothing to see. I'm going to rinse them off with cold water. I'm going to pat and dry the best I can with paper towels, okay? And then here's kind of the rub I'm going to use. Pretty simple. I like the Kinders just because it's essentially what I was going to do anyway, right? So there we go. The blend: salt, pepper, garlic. Salt, pepper, garlic. Add some onion powder, smoked paprika, little cayenne. My family doesn't like heat, so I don't tell them about it, but I sneak a little in there. And then I would prefer dark brown sugar, but that's not what we have. We have light. So simple rub. I'll rub them on there, and you know, it's ideal if you can let it sit overnight and all that, but in the interest of time, I need to cook these ribs today, so it's gonna sit on there for a little bit. And then for kind of my mop, I've got a spray bottle, and I've got a bunch of these, but I label them so I don't mix this with 40% vinegar for weeds and that type of thing. So just a little bit of apple cider vinegar, the rest we're using apple juice. Last time I made ribs, I did like 50% bourbon, 50% apple cider vinegar, and it wasn't good. My family was like, these ribs don't have any flavor, there's no sweetness, so okay. So these will be sweet. The next time you see these ribs, they'll be rubbed down, ready to go. This is a big pan, as you see, and I bought it just for ribs, but even with the size of this thing, 3 racks, they're gonna be laying on each other. So you're just picking them up, rubbing them down. It gets a little messy, but so we got the sink right there. So we'll get that done. I'll show you those ribs, you'll see those, and then we'll get the, we're gonna be using a pit barrel smoker today, which is very, very simple. And there's a few things I've learned about it to produce really good barbecues. So we will check that out and have a good time. So let me get these cleaned up for you and rubbed down, and we will take a peek at those. Cook time on these is going to be approximately 6 hours. So 3 hours in the smoke, and then we're going to finish it in the oven on convection bake. And when I say finish it, once they absorb as much smoke as they can really absorb, and you don't really want to go longer than that with ribs, we're going to wrap them in foil. We're going to mop them down with some more of this, maybe throw in some butter and some other seasonings, and we're just going to throw them in at 225 convection bake, which is kind of like 250 regular bake, for about 3 hours. And then we're going to check for tenderness at the end of that 3 hours, and it's going to be like chewing on a newborn baby's earlobe. It's going to be buttery soft, but not mushy. So if these were baby backs, which are a little bit different cut of ribs, I believe baby backs come off the ribs that attach to the spine of the hog, and I believe these ribs, if I'm correct, are further up towards the front. I could be wrong, but they're in a little bit different area. Baby backs are smaller. These are a little meatier. They're both really good, but I tend to favor baby backs slightly for whatever reason. So, all right, let's get these things cleaned, rinsed off, patted down, and rubbed down. All right, ribs are rubbed down. You're probably wondering, why do those look dirty, Jason? It's because I added a little medium roast coffee, a secret coffee, to it, because what it's going to do is it is going to kind of help create a bark and kind of lock in those other seasonings and sugar and spices into the meat. At least that's what I'm telling myself, but it gives it some uniqueness and some character for sure. So I don't know if you can see, I'm going to try to zoom in. Yeah, you're starting to see just a beautiful sticky coating form. And these are just going to sit out here at room temperature as I go outside and get the smoker prepped and ready. So this is going to be good stuff. This is going to be good stuff. Now the wood I choose is going to have a big impact on kind of the flavor profile of these ribs. So we'll talk about that a bit more outside. All right, let's see if I can get this in here. The sun does not help. Using Kingsford Natural briquettes. And we've got a mix of cherry, post oak, and hickory. We're going to get the charcoal started. This charcoal chimney, a little brown paper underneath, and I'm just using a little Weber grill just for this purpose. Then here's the pit barrel smoker. Pretty simple design. Got a charcoal basket in the bottom. There we go. And I've got my wood sprinkled there. There's no water pan. There is these pieces of rebar that the ribs hang on with meat hooks. And there's one air hole at the bottom that you set based on elevation. That's it. There's no temperature check. It seems like a recipe for disaster, doesn't it? Works pretty well though. So let's get this going. Get that going for about 10-15 minutes. Literally take it, dump it in the bottom, get my skewers, hang my ribs, and start the timer. Well, let's get after it. Try the different camera here as well, a little easier to hold. So here's our ribs. It's my trash can with a blanket, my makeshift table, right? Soaking up that flavor. Nice, real nice. Man, this phone's a lot easier to hold than the big camera. So you see I got the 3 spikes there. This is almost ready. All right, we get down in here and just see that, I know the sun's bad, and just see the white right there getting white on the bottom. So pretty hot. I wait about another minute or two. I'll get a big welding glove on so I don't burn myself, and I'll lower it in there and jump it right on top. Then I got a tool that'll hook right here so I can pick it up and set it right there. I'll show you, but apologize for the sun. Yeah, I'm gonna have to use the iPhone here. It's a lot easier to hold than the big cam, so we'll check it out. But this is this Western brand is pretty well known. The blend we're going with today is mostly cherry. Secondary is post oak, and the hickory the least. Hickory's pretty strong, so cherry oak and hickory has been my long favorite blend, and I've done a bunch. Here's our mop today. 95% apple juice, 100% apple juice. No crap added to it, and a little bit of that apple cider vinegar. So plan is every hour we're going to spray the ribs with that mop, pick it up, spray it down, put it back in there. We don't have to check temp. No water tray. Again, if you've smoked, if you used propane or pellet or even a stick burner or an offset, some people call it, you're not used to what I'm saying. But yeah, this sucker, the juice drips right down in there. And then check this company out. It's veteran owned, pretty cool. Very simple, and I can just easily pick this thing up and move it around. Actually, the smaller size I would be into the smaller size. This is kind of the standard. The bigger size just gets too dang big. I'm not making, you know, I'm not cooking for a restaurant or anything, but right here you can hang about 10 or 12 racks of ribs vertically. I can tell that's about ready, so let's get in there. All right, in an effort to smoke ribs with me, I'm gonna show you this. So I've added the hot coals in there. I put the rebar up, which is super greasy, so I use a disposable glove, and that's like the grease you can't get off. Now we're gonna get these in here. Oh boy, it's gonna spill everywhere. One. There's no strategy. I usually just put 2 on one side, 1 on the other. 2. The thing I like about this whole way of making these ribs and all this, stupid simple. I'm not measuring anything. I'm not going off any recipes. You do it, figure out what you like, what you don't like. Change it next time. All right. So now what? If I leave this open, that's going to catch on fire and get too hot and run out of fuel. But by covering it, it smolders. There's enough airflow for it to keep going, and your air, it'll actually vent out of those holes there on both sides. It's enough to keep it going, but not too much, and that'll smoke. It's got that little tiny vent opening, and I won't bring the camera back and spray it. I might bring it back once, spray it and show you what that looks like, but I'm gonna set the timer now, and at an hour I'll spray it with that mix right there. See you then. What is going on while those ribs are cooking? We are in into the second hour now. While they're cooking, I figured why not do some smoking while smoking, you know what I mean? We're gonna do the Monte Cristo Platinum. I'll be honest with you, the last one of these I had was not good. It's very bizarre. A buddy of mine had the same experience with them, where they're generally really good, but man, this last one would not stay lit for anything, and I have no explanation as to why that is. Humidity was good, draw was good, visually looked all right, but it was bonkers. And then we're going to talk a little bit of business. You can probably tell that sun is good for the camera, but kind of right in my face. And get this sucker started. So far so good, my friends. So far so good. So since I am going to be hanging out anyway, I gotta spritz those ribs here again. So I did it hour 1. I sprayed them down with a mop. I got 30 minutes until the second spraying, and then at the third hour, what I do is I'll spray them, pull them, wrap them in foil, and finish them in the oven. So got to kind of hang out in the area anyway. As you see, beautiful day. It's probably high 60s. Humidity's pretty low, so I'm not complaining at all. So one thing I wanted to talk to you about as far as business, because we got the smoke, right? Smoking ribs, smoking cigars. No flow right now. No, nothing being poured. I did have a beer earlier though. We're gonna talk a little bit of grow. One thing that I've learned in business this year, probably the biggest lessons, and if you look back at some previous videos, some of them you see frustration, anger, that type of thing from me, but later in the year I generally get more reflective with things, especially in business. These are kind of my big lessons so far for the year. One is, you know, and we have, if you don't know, we have a marketing company called Intentionally Inspirational, same thing as the channel. But one thing that I have done a poor job of up until now is outbound. So in business, you never want to stop your outbound. You never want to stop trying to get new leads. And the beauty is we get leads from referrals, and you know, podcasts. Me guesting on podcasts, by the way, that is a great referral source. Like, way better than me being the host. Me guesting is great because you get in front of new audiences, but the organic stuff, the repeat stuff, the word of mouth stuff's really good, but never stop outbound. And our big focus for a while has been cold email outreach, and we got Facebook ads to launch here soon. So that's really good. But the big lesson for me is, that's lesson one. Lesson two is diversify. So we got our big run, our big rise in business by niching down, and that's great. But if you think about the biggest brands in the world, they may have started in a niche, but they usually end up going wider when the time's right. So we are kind of niched down in the way that we do things, but as far as our service offerings and the type of companies we work with, it's broader than it used to be, and that is good. That is creating clients in different industries for different reasons, and it's going to give us diversity and stability. So that's a big lesson learned. And really our focus is service-based businesses, right? So if you sell candles, I'm not going to be able to help you with your marketing. It's not what we do. So anyway, so that's thing number two. Never stop outbound's one. Number two is diversify. Number three, it's always a mental game. Everything begins and ends with the mindset. And I've talked so much that a cigar is not outputting like I'd like. You know, these lighters, I got these cheap lighter from Amazon, triple flame, pretty good, but I swear this thing dials itself back all the time. It turns itself down. So here's my secret for mindset. Good barbecue, good cigars, good company like you, and palm trees. Now, whatever you got to do to break away, to relax, that's what's key to mindset. And you have to understand that you know, people will ask me all the time, like, how do you do whatever you do when you're not motivated, or how do you get motivated? How do you do the things you don't want to do, blah, 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 that type of stuff. And I just say, there's a whole bunch of stuff I don't want to do as well. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I do not enjoy, but I just do it anyway, right? So the secret is, it's not more enjoyable for me than you. It's not easier. I just do it anyway. I do stuff that I don't want to do and that causes me pain in more ways than one, and you do it anyway. And if you do things consistently over enough time, beautiful stuff happens. All right, I'm going to enjoy this cigar. I will bring you back when the ribs are all done, let you take a peek at those. And I've given you a whole bunch you can drop in the comments. Your favorite ways to smoke ribs, questions you may have about anything I did or didn't do. I can think of some things you may ask. Let me know your favorite cigar. It's all good stuff. All right, see you back here when these ribs are done. To go in the foil. Oh boy. All right, finally done. Finally done. And when you see a bone fall out, that's generally a pretty good sign. See if I can get this thing to focus. Smoke ring is generally a sign of somebody that knows what they're doing. May have done this once, possibly twice. My wife has had the first rib and says they're good. As you see, we got a whole bunch here. We won't even eat a whole rack, and we'll cut them up and save them. So if you like this video, if you have any questions about what I did or didn't do, I didn't show you everything, I showed you a bunch though, like, subscribe, and share to the channel. Again, Intentionally Inspirational is a company. We do digital marketing, but this channel is more focused on me, Jason Wright Unplugged. Smoking cigars, smoking meats. We're going to have some hunting footage here soon as our season starts up here, and all kinds of cool stuff. Thanks for watching.